Hey, Joe at Fabspeed Motorsports USA. I've been a 35-year member of the Porsche Club, and I want to dissect and go through all the different Porsche exhausts that Porsche AG and Porsche Motorsports offered for the 997 GT3 all the way up to the latest and greatest 991.2 GT3 and GT3 RS. So here on the ground, I've got my famous sidekick, Harley, the Pomeranian. Pay attention. But in the forefront right here are 997 Gt3 headers that when the car debuted. This is the Metzger engine with the split case that they had, and the flanges on here are indicative and bolt pattern for Metzger engine for the car. The tubes are, since the engine doesn't make as much power as the later variants, are smaller accordingly, and the catalytic converter is smaller to size for the power, okay? So that's the header. The next header up is on a 991 GT3 and GT3 RS. Once again, as these cars picked up upwards of another 100 horsepower over time, they went with a much larger catalytic converter, okay? Because you need a lot of surface area to scrub the exhaust and maintain performance. They went from a metal cat from Ematech in the earlier variants to a big ceramic cat, and larger cat, larger surface area, and then the bolt patterns now for the new water-cooled engine. I believe it's called the 9A1. Moving forward, once the exhaust gets out of the flat six, through the headers, through the cats, it goes up to the side mufflers. And the side mufflers are on all the GT3s, and they haven't changed the design at all. So you got these really heavy side mufflers, and here's how the side mufflers work. When the exhaust comes through the header, there's a donut there, and then there's a clamp, and it fires right into this female flare. And then when the exhaust comes in, if the valve shuts, the valve shuts right here, and then the exhaust is forced to shunt through this opening, goes into a 3-chamber muffler, fills this chamber, reaches a pressure, goes through a velocity stack right here, fills this secondary chamber, and then when it fills the secondary chamber with the valve shut, the exhaust has to go through this perforated wall, through rock wool, this isn't fiberglass, rock wool, and then fights its way around, and then goes through this pipe right here. And this pipe is 49 millimeters, 1.95 inches, under 2 inches. So when the valve's shut, the exhaust shunts through here for the first chamber, the second chamber, through this chamber, and it comes out this pipe through this small tube, which is about 1.5 inches in diameter, and then goes in the top side of this muffler right there. When the valve's open, the exhaust obviously goes through here, through the cat, through the header, through the cat, through this opening, the valve opens, and then it goes straight through here. This is under 2.5 inches. So all side mufflers for Porsches, that's what they did for the GT3, 997, the 991 GT3 variants. Next, and lastly, you have the back box, as they call in the UK, or the rear muffler, also known as the center muffler. Typically, this is your center muffler, weighs about 20 pounds, comes with 90 millimeter tips, about 3.5 inches, stainless steel, and it's a 5-chamber muffler. At Fabspeed, we always are cutting apart OEM exhausts from Ferrari, Porsche, McLaren, you name it, to see what they're doing so we can glean knowledge. But here's your factory muffler, okay? And on the regular GT3s, it came out of stainless steel. On the RSs, like this car here, that were made out of titanium, would save you about 6 or 8 pounds. The tips would bolt on, so you can change your tips out, whatever, but here you go. Here's the factory muffler, and here's the insides of the muffler. So as the exhaust comes through, this small pipe enters here, the larger 2.5-inch pipe enters in there, the exhaust stalls, bounces around, goes through these perforated walls. When the valve's shut, then it bounces around, and ultimately, when the valve's shut, it comes all through here, backs its way through here, through this perforated wall, and comes out the tailpipe. And as you can see, this takes you right out. This is 63 millimeters, about 2.5 inches. There's a balance tube, which is really important for the sound signature of the GT3. A lot of people ignore these things, but it ties both sides of the flat six together. But then you can see the car's doing a lot of work when the valves are shut, even when the valves are open. One other thing people should know about GT3 OEM mufflers, they've actually had an Achilles heel. This is the back of the muffler, like this, and you can see where they stamped it to try to make it stronger, but often this is the failure point right here. The muffler oil can, like an old oil can, it'll crack here and explode from it pulsating when the exhaust and backfire is going. And a lot of times these mufflers will break, and in particular, the titanium mufflers can be fragile. One other Achilles heel we actually discovered, and Porsche discovered, is during the build of these cars, Porsche does durability testing, as does Ferrari, McLaren, and other vendors, other manufacturers, and they actually had a lot of problems with their exhaust valves. Ferrari is the first company in the world to use pneumatic vacuum actuated exhaust valves. So in the early GT3 mufflers, here's your exhaust valve. It's probably made in Germany or maybe in the Far East, but it broke, and they broke. Ultimately, what did Porsche do? As they learned, they ultimately went to a helical valve from the United Kingdom, Great Britain. Helical makes turbocharged actuators and special components. And on the latest GT3 mufflers, just like on this car, they're made of stainless steel. And you can actually see the helical valve with the part number from the United Kingdom on it stamped. This is the ultimate quality valve. Silica carbide on the actuator, it will not leak. Come off a racetrack, stop the car, hot soaking, works. So you can see what Porsche went with, and it works dynamite. And Fabspeed, by way, is also the importer for all of North and South America for helical valves. But it shows you the path of progress and learning and continual improvement that one of our favorite brands, Porsche, does to give you the special cars and the special power that we all love and enjoy.